Brilliant. Wicked. Ah, hello. Right, hi. I have. This is the first time I've ever actually streamed, and I've realised I'm hearing my own voice. That's a brilliant start. Let's get rocking. Right, so I'm looking to make a game, which is kind of inspired by Slay the Spire. Because I mean, there's a lot of times I've looked at Slay the Spire and I thought, oh, that is brilliant. I'd love to make a game like that. And every single effort that I've sort of made to, like in my head to try and make it, I was thinking, I'm just making a worse version of Slay the Spire. However, I've actually come up with an idea for a game which is quite heavily inspired by Slay the Spire, and let's see how it goes. My first opening sort of gambit, I haven't done that many sprites or anything, so it's more I'm going to map out the entire idea. So I'm going to do more of the code part today, and so it's visually not going to look overly great, but I want to actually essentially get the coding to work and then worry about making it look good a little bit later, because I think there's a particular philosophy, I say philosophy, that implies that it goes back ages, but it's where if you can make, I think when they made Pong, where it's literally just blocks moving back and forth, if you can somehow make that fun, then the actual visual look can come in later, so ideally I want to make it look I want to make it actually play well before I actually test to all the graphics and stuff. Right, anyway, let's go. So I've actually pre-created an account, a new project. I've decided to call it Rumpletown. I'm just surprised it hasn't been taken. Like, that's the best name ever. But when it's a Google, no one knows what I'm talking about. It's like, nope, I just made the whole thing up. Right, so sweet. Now all I've done so far is I've created a resource folder and I've created a scripts folder. And with this, there's two scripts here, one called Aaron, one called Mover, which are really, really useful bits of code, which I've used. I made it like kind of sort of a year ago or something, but it's actually quite useful to transfer from project to project. Right, so how do we get started? So our first thing, I control my main camera. I kind of want this to be black. I don't know, it just feels a bit rubbish. I don't really like that blue, so I'm going to go straight to black. Right, so our first thing that we're going to try and do is we're going to create a card. So our main goal is to make it feel as though, like with, say, Hearthstone or indeed Slay the Spire, when you're drawing a card, to give you that feeling that you actually got the card in your hand and you can play it. How are we going to do that? I don't know. No, I'm only joking. Of course I know. I'm incredible. Right. Let's have a look. Good. I'm glad we've called it Sample Scene. That's a great name. Why don't we call it Main Game? Yeah, that's fine. Right, Main Game it is. Right. Let's have a look. Plus 2D objects, sprites, square, and we kind of want some sprites to fit in here, don't we? So I've got a couple ready from earlier, which will just take me a minute. Down. Yeah, so that's going to be the basic front of it, and it's going to obviously have more information on a bit later, but save it as a PNG. And this one here, put in here. Yeah, that's fine. So, yeah. Here we go. Right, so with the basic idea is that's going to be the back of the card, and that's going to be the front. And I kind of don't want it to be in that sort of landscape-like mode. So now we're going to name our thing. I'm just going to call it Card Go, which is short for Game Object. You really want to try and avoid using as many abbreviations, but like I every now and then you can get away with it, but it's quite easy to end up with loads of code and everything, and you're just like, I've got so many abbreviations, I can't remember what any of this means. Anyway, here we go. Oh, thank you, Kev. Right, let's have a look. That was not where I wanted to go with that. Right, so we need to change both of these into point filter, because the reason we did point is just because it makes the resolution more defined, I guess. Some people actually want it to have that smooth look, whereas I always like that sort of pixely look. Now, pixels per unit, that's just how many pixels are going to fit in each one of these little squares. I'm going to do 256 and then probably realise that's far too big. And why do I turn this compression to none? Because everything looks rubbish if you don't. Good. We've done. It's a good learning here. I don't know why there's all of these extra sprites here. Anyway, we want that one to go at the front. So how big is that going to look on the screen? Let's go down it to 128, I think. Or will that indeed make it bigger? Can't remember. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's better. And the idea, I want you to, like, when you move the mouse over it, it sort of highlights it so you can read it slightly better. Okay. Now, I'm just going to experiment with something here. I'm going to create another sprite. There we go. That is really weird. Anyway, and I kind of want that one to be. I'm just going to temporarily. There we go. Because what axis have we got to rotate it around? I think it's the x-axis. So if I go. No, not the x-axis. Yeah, that's better. So that can be 180. And send that over to that. So my overall plan is to make it so that it's this on the back and the other one on the front, so it can turn around and it will look okay. Although it seems to be taking dominance over every side. Never mind, I'll use the other technique. That's fine. Just get rid of that. Okay. Right. So card go. So I'm going to drag it onto prefabs. This basically makes it a thing that I can create over and over as many times as I like. So now that I've done it there, I can just get rid of this. I'm going to keep it there because I still want to do stuff to it, but I've got it in prefab, so that's all right. Okay, let's go make our first script. This is the best bit. Scripts. I'm going to give it a very, very... really characteristic, funny name. I'm not. It's just going to be called Card Script. I have kind of learnt that lesson of giving all your scripts funny names, it really does backfire after you're like sort of 6 months into a game. Here we go. So, oh, I came up with such a funny name, but now I can't remember what it means. Right. Oh, that was actually faster than I thought. Okay, brilliant. Okay. So what have we got? We're going to have, we want to introduce the transform, which we're going to call card trans. Sprite renderer, which we're going to call card. I'm going to do another abbreviation. I can't. No, it is actually like as long as you're categorically aware of what abbreviations you're doing, then it is okay. But it's just it's only because I've called all the sprite renderers in all my games. I've always just put SR at the end, so I know that it's a sprite renderer. There we go. Right. So, oh yeah, by the way, let me know if so I can know, like, for future reference. I don't know if the music is too overpowering, but I realise the music is actually, I mean, yes, this memorable music, it can be a little bit sort of distracting, but I actually kind of, I just kind of prefer it there in the background. So people can kind of watch it, just have it on in the background, be like, oh, is this guy on again? Well, he's got this memorable music with him, so, you know, I'll come back and watch more. So what I'm doing here, I'm basically getting a reference to the our cards, the actual transform, which is like how big it is, where it's going to be on the in the game, and what rotation it's going to be. Right, which is cool. And I've got access to the sprite renderer, which is the thing that changes the picture here. Now I kind of want to do a few more things to this. Let's go. So I'm actually going to edit it in here. Okay, let's go back into 2D mode. So we're going to create... Oh yeah, of course, yeah, it's a 3D object. Which is going to be the text, because I want to have some text in various different places. So this will be, I'll put, I mean, technically I should be writing mana cost, but I'm going to put coin cost, because instead of mana crystals like in Slay the Spire, it's going to be slightly more like, it's going to be using coins. So people will be like, oh, this is nothing like Slay the Spire. They're using coins instead of mana crystals. Coin cost text. There we go. Right. Character size. Oh yes. Hold on. Let's say 20. That's obviously exactly what I was going for. Now, at the moment, the keen observer will notice that the actual text is not actually in front of there. And annoyingly enough, there's seemingly no way to actually get it in front using like from anything here. So I'll have to do that in code, which is fine. That's not too difficult. Right, I kind of probably need it a little bit bigger than that. But I kind of want to just check that it's not looking too blurry either. Right, now why is that looking like that? Can't quite work that out. I'll stick with that. You know what, let's just get rid of it. Create. It looked good to begin with, let's just get rid of that, create another one. And yeah, I know, it's annoying that it says 3D object because there's no actual text that you can actually get from the 2D perspective. So you've got to create 3D text and then just move it into place. It's probably a bit too small. It's still too big. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Cool. So if I did do that. Yeah, this will just take a little bit of editing, working out getting it the correct way. That's fine, stick with what it was to begin with. Oh yeah, of course. I did actually make another font, which I'm going to grab at some point. I'll see if I can do that. I might, because this is just, unfortunately with Unity you only get one font to work with. Right. So I'll create a folder. Let's try again. Right. Now that is going to be all the way over, just stealing stuff from other games, that's fine. I wonder if it's going to be as simple as that. Oh yeah, of course, we need the material as well. Oh, and that material actually needs the thing. Actually, it's good. I'll work that out another time, don't worry. Let's just see what's... as clever as I'd like. Oh, we'll cross that bridge a bit later, that's fine. Stick with the original. Right. Just don't press anything, Pete. It's fine. Stick to how it was originally. You're okay with that. There we go. Okay, so that will be coin cost text card yeah name of card. Card description. Right, yeah. Let's go middle center and center. There we go. One. Going to make that a little bit smaller. So this is more of just a template one. I'll work out what's wrong with the why I can't get my font at some point. I'll be racking my brain. I'll just see this sort of like faded, horrible looking aerial thing, and it will just kind of keep me up at night. But that's okay. Because I feel I'm going to have to actually sort of sit down and try and work out why that is the case. But that's fine for the time being. This is purely just a test. But I'd rather have something physical that I can use. Right. And that will be, let's just say, charge. Doesn't matter. Right. Yeah, that'll do for me. Right, so we can actually edit. We want to get access to all these things as well. So let's just update this. So now, yeah, that's fine. Okay. So we want access to the text as well. So private text mesh. Card TMs. I put an S there to indicate that we've got an array. Here we go. So now I'm just doing some. I just want to get access to all this text as well. So. Get components in children. So this is going to find all of them. And now what we can actually do is just to check that we've got all the stuff that we want. I'm actually going to go public. That way we can actually just see that we've got access to all the things that we want on there. So, and one classic thing, which I think I'm actually going to avoid myself doing this time, it's very easy to forget to actually put the script on and trying to work out why it's not working, but card script, drag that on there. So it's all public. So in an ideal world, we press play, and it will go onto full screen, which I kind of forgot. I probably don't need that. And I just want to check that it's actually got access to all the things that we want. So yeah, and that's fine. So we've got access to our transform, which is what moves it. We've got access to the sprite renderer, so we can change the look of the whole card. And we've got access to all the bits of text. Sweet. Okay. Now, because we're just looking for... yeah, we're now looking to make it so that we have... I think I kind of... Oh, I don't need to do that. We kind of want to have the cards sort of somewhere at the bottom of the screen where you can have like a line of them, and I kind of want to make it so that you get you draw 5 cards each turn, and you've got to expend your mana to or expend your coins. That's going to be the form of mana crystal. It's fine. And so you've got the options in front of you. That does look a little small, but we can change that in a sec. I'm now going to create another game object that's called deck. And that one will have card back. That's fine. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. So our overall goal now is, so now that we've actually created that, I will add this to our prefabs as well. And it is kind of, I don't know if this is strictly the best thing to do, but I generally prefer it that whenever I'm creating any scene or loading up a scene, I want to have as few things here as possible, and I want to have a script that creates it all. Like I said, I don't actually know if that's directly more efficient, but that's generally what I sort of go for. And I kind of want to actually also just look to see if that actually... let's go, instead of free aspect, let's just do full HD. That should be fine. So we've got a bit more of an idea as to where things are going to be in proportion to the screen size and stuff. So our overall plan, what we want to do, we want to have a script that creates this deck and then draws us 5 cards. A lot easier said than done, but I'm sure it will be fun with the journey. Right, let's rock. Deck go there, and I kind of want to make these bigger. Actually, I want to make the sprites bigger, so let's just go make them twice the size, because they still seem a bit small, don't they? Yeah, it's a bit better. That might be a bit too big. Okay, so bam, 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 bam. Okay, now it's so over here we're going to create another game object, which I'm just going to call main. No, we'll just call it master. So this is just an empty game object that I'm going to put a bunch of important scripts on to kind of get everything to work. Master. Right. Let's have a look. Right. And when I start to make more scripts, I'm going to do more folders. So because at some point I'm going to just have a bunch of scripts and it's going to be a mission. So it's better to actually put them in different sort of folders, so it's easier to organise. That's actually one thing that I'd properly recommend. Actually, it's always better to to kind of keep everything in as many folders. You can never have too many folders of organisation. Right, so we'll call it main game master. Cool, that's what I wanted to happen. Edit script. Right, so game object deck go. So in this particular script here, I want to get access to the deck. So my overall goal is to make it so the deck sort of spawns on the screen. So eventually I'm just going to delete it off of the actual scene, so the script creates it. So for us to do that, we need to create it in the first place. So deckgo equals resources dot load game object and what we're looking to do here is put the path in which to actually get to it. So let me just find out. So that's quite easily done. You just need to find it. This is going to be the deck go. I'm just going to go right mouse button. Actually, let me do something which will be useful for later. Card stuff, that's fine. So now I'm going to copy path and chuck it in here. So what we're actually doing, we're literally just loading it straight from our folders, and and this is part of like the sort of muscle memory. I've just got used to just deleting all of this, so that is it. Right, the only key thing. Oh yeah, sorry, and getting rid of that as well. So. So that should access all of that. So actually let's go make life a bit easier on ourselves, make it public, and now as you may already know, I've got awake is what happens right at the beginning and start is what happens right after awake. So it'll do all of this code in here, followed by all of this code that I'm going to put in at some point. Now, IEnumerators are like the funnest thing. They're the best thing because that's when you can kind of it's like a function, but it works over like a period of time. Oh, hey, itch mag, doing that. I'm not very good at pronouncing. Oh, rock and roll. Yeah, nice to see you. At the moment, we're in the very early phases of making the game. But yeah, so I'm trying to sort of explain some of the intricacies, and I've realised it's actually it might be a little on the complex side, but it should be okay. Private IEnumerator summon deck routine. Right, now you see a red squiggly line. That's purely because an IEnumerator does something over a period of time. So because at the moment it's happening everything, I always just put this yield return null. Summon deck routine. There we are. Oh yeah, I have actually. I'll show you one thing that I was going to do, right? And then I don't know if it's too annoying, but if you look in the top right corner, I've got a little sort of advertisement of the game to sort of try and promote it. But I was thinking if that's going to get quite irritating after a period of time, so I was like, oh, I'll leave it there for a while. But then it's like, oh no, I'm just looking at that and not actually paying attention to anything. But yeah, feel free. It'd be cool to actually give it a shot. Tell me what you think. All right. Anyway, let's. I want to just check that this routine is working, so I'm going to do a bit of a debug. .log. Hey. There we go. Right. So let's go. Yeah, wait for it all to compile. And for the time being, we can actually get rid of all this. Yeah, because I've got the stuff right. So at the moment, that's empty. And what I'm actually going to do very sneakily now, I'm going to put on these scripts. These are really useful scripts, which I created earlier, like from all my others, which can be pretty useful. Right. So ideally, we'll just get a debug message saying, "Hey." Yeah. So we've got the "hey," and what I also want to check is that. In here we've actually got, yes, brilliant, so it's actually loaded this deck. So I haven't actually got the deck to do anything yet, so I think we probably want another empty game object that's just called hand, that basically is storing all of the cards that we've got. Oh, is it not? Ah, okay, that is a shame actually. I can probably change that. Out of interest, is it on the Google Play Store, or because I think it might not be available on the Android store, but that's actually really, yes, that makes perfect sense. No worries. I tell you what, I can work on that. I do appreciate. I feel really bad now. Now it's like a look how great this game is, but you can't play it because it's not available. So I think. It is available on the on the Apple, like on the App Store. But what I'll do, I do actually appreciate you saying that. I'm going to do a bit of fixing and see if I can get it available. That's actually really good to know, because I don't know if you've ever tried to put a game on both the App Store and the Google Play Store, but it's surprisingly difficult. But yeah, but thanks for like searching for it though. What I can do, I'll let you know once it's actually all up as well. But like, oh dear me, that is the most difficult part. I love the coding, I love making games. I just the concept of actually getting it on both the App Store and the Google Play Store is one of the most soul-crushing processes you can ever have. Right, anyway, let's get rocking. So where are we up to? Oh yeah. So what I want to do is let's see where would actually be a good place to put it. Oh yeah, oh yes, I want it on 2D. That makes life so much easier. Should have done that sooner. Right. So I want it roughly there, but I kind of want to make the numbers as round as possible. So -7, -2.5, and yeah, I think if ever you're I think the difficult thing is when you're trying to go through the process, there's so many little boxes that you need to click, and it's so easy. But I think hopefully, with that information in mind, I probably should be able to actually get it sorted at some point. One thing that's also important to note is on the App Store version, I've got a scoreboard that works, but on the Google Play Store, I'm still trying to work out how to actually get the scoreboard to work. They really do make it as difficult as possible. They kind of work under the assumption you have an incredible knowledge of data scripting, and it's just impossible. Right. That's 0. Right. So just want to just get that reference. So that's -7, -2.5 and 0. So right. Yeah, we know that works. So and actually, before I do any of this, I want to just get a sort of dummy script to go on this deck go. So we're going to call it deck script. There we go. I don't know why it always defaults to bring me to this page, but that's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. Yes, it is actually Windows 7. I know I do feel a bit of a sort of granddad in that respect. I probably should upgrade at some point, but I'm slightly bitter because there was a period of time where I could have upgraded it for free, and now I think it costs quite a substantial amount of money. So while it's still working all right, I may as well stick with it. Script. So we're going to make everything public for the time being. Now I've got a little rule where whenever I'm actually referencing any scripts, I always want to do exactly that, but just put an underscore before it, so I know this is referencing. Yeah, referencing the deck script. Right, anyway. And let me have a look. So what was the key number that we got? -7, -2.5. So in an ideal world, I kind of want to make it sort of go from underneath the screen and sort of move up. And I've got this little script that can do that. So if I have it say -10, yeah, I think that's fine. So yeah, just keep it there for the time being. Oh, really? Okay, right, well, that's actually really useful information. Oh. Now, I mean, I believe you. I genuinely do. That may be the case, but when I did try, I think this was actually, might have been, say, 6 months ago-ish, but when I did try, there just seemed to be lots of things saying, yeah, just simply purchase our thing, and I was thinking, no, this seems... needlessly complicated, but I'll have a look into that. Actually, that's a good point. Kev, if you're still here, do you know if will I be able to keep all the things that are currently on here? Okay, brilliant, wicked. That's actually really good to know. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, sorry, I just thought I haven't actually read what the text is, so if anyone's actually watching this video, it would just be looking as though I'm just talking to myself. Someone was mentioning how I'm using Windows 7 and how it would probably be more advisable to use Windows 11 instead, which I'm fully in agreement with. But I didn't realise I thought it actually cost us. I thought it cost money, but brilliant. That is something which I will do after this stream. Yeah, thank you. Sweet. Yeah, cheers, man. Right, deck script. Let's then check. Right. So anyway, right, back into the best bit, the coding bit. Now, I'm hoping this text is readable. I've made it sort of a bit bigger. Because I think I'd normally have it something like that, but I think the resolution doesn't quite work out too well. So I've got it, have it nice and big so people can actually look and see what I'm doing that. So anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to create the deck, and we're actually going to have it new vector 3, this is the location in which we're creating it, which will be minus 7.5. Oh no, put that in the wrong place. Minus 7.5, and then minus 10. Point your F, and and one thing which still kind of frustrates me to this day is we've got a right dot quaternion dot identity. In my head, that shouldn't really need to be necessary. So what we're doing, we're creating this deck, and then we're going to actually deck script is essentially grabbing the script off of the object that we've just created. Yeah, so then we can have access to it. At the moment, I've got nothing on this script, but I just want to have access to it so I can do stuff with it later. Right, dot get component deck script. Right, sweet. Okay. So we now have access to this desk script as we create it, and you may be wondering, why are you creating it at minus with the y value as minus 10? Because that's going to be like way off the screen. But I have a plan. What I'm going to do, I've got an algorithm. So I've got a what we call a singleton script, which is let me just let all that load up. So I've got something here that's called mover, this is kind of like one of my sort of pride and joys. I made it a while ago, and there's clearly problems with it. There's quite a lot of like code here, but this, I mean, as much as this looks really complicated, it's actually a lot simpler than it looks. It's essentially something very useful for moving something from one place to another. I know. Why do you need? Why do you need almost 1,500 lines of code to move something from one place to another? Well, it's mainly like I've got different ways of wanting to move it. It's like you can just have it as a flat move. Oh yeah, oh cool, no worries, Kev. Have a really good pub lunch. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, cheers, man. Yeah. Oh yeah, you rock, Kev. Right. So int chum equals mover dot instance dot. I think I've actually called something called overshoot. Now I've got a particular function where it not only moves it from one place to another, but it overshoots it, so make it just feel that little bit smoother. So it should ideally kind of go, hold on, so instead of it just kind of moving flat up, it kind of goes woo, and then sort of slightly overshoots it, just to give it that slightly sort of smooth edge, which I can't do anything yet now because we've got nothing on the deck script, but I'll start editing that now. Go to definition, there we go. Right, loads of rubbish. Right. Now, what I'll start making things private so that I can tell you how I'm going to access stuff when you're not there. So when you're not directly in the script. So private deck trans. Oh, private transform. Sorry. Deck trans. Yeah, there we go. Deck trans equals get component transform. So basically we're doing this code just so we get access to the transform, so then we can actually do all the fun stuff. And now it's private, so at the moment there's no possible way of accessing it unless you're in the deck script. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually have a little function over here which I'm going to call public transform get trans, and I would normally just put it right at the side, but I'll try and make it so it looks a little bit clearer. Get trans, and now we're just going to simply return deck trans. So what that's doing is we've created a function where when we do this function, we get hold of this deck trans, the transform. So that should be all good. So now we've got this. Here, I'll show you all the different things that we need. This is really small. You might not be able to read it, but first off, we need the actual transform, the thing that we're actually going to move, which will be, as we now know, is deckscript.getTrans. Kind of want to try Windows 11 now. That's that's brilliant. Right, and and now target vect is it's going to be new vector 3. So this is where we actually want to move it to, which will be minus 7.5f and minus 2.5f. Now you'll probably be noticing that I'm using vector 3, and yet I've only got because that should ideally be an x, y, and z. But I recently found out that you can actually just do the first two, and it will assume the z is a 0, which is quite a bit of a time saver. And we want to have it over, say, let's go 0.5 seconds. And now this will require a little bit of editing, but I'm going to just try one and see what happens, because there's a good chance it overshoots way too much. But there's only one way to find out. So we're going to find out quite a lot of information in just this first go round. Oh yeah, I suppose that's the thing. I feel, to be honest, because I've used Windows. Why not use Linux instead of Windows? And it's like, to be fair, I haven't got a good response to that, other than I've just had Windows my whole life, so I'm just used to it. It's like I was there back in the sort of Windows 95 days and stuff. But it's genuinely consideration. I'll look into that, but I don't know if it's going to be too much different. But yeah, I'll give that a shot though. Or I'll definitely at least look and see how it feels. Right, where are we up to? Yeah, so 0.5. And what I really should be doing is, you don't need to, but I always like to, whenever I'm using any float variables, put in an F at the end of it. You don't actually technically need to here, but I just kind of prefer it that way. Actually, let's go and make it 1 second. Let's go crazy. Right, there we go. Just more, yeah. So this could look really bad. Right, trying this out first time. How does this look? It's overshot far too much. It's okay. I've either got to make this smaller or bigger. I can't remember now. Let's just give that a try. Oh, that's not bad actually, is it? Yeah. So we'll stick with that for the time being. Now we want the deck to then create the cards, and it's going to be very much template cards, but I want to sort of create it just at the bottom. So making progress. Right. I want to create an empty, which we're going to call hand go. So the idea is this thing is going to hold all the cards, which we'll hand go. And you know what? Before I forget, we're going to have a prefab that's done. Yeah, I'm going to create a folder called core, which has basically got all the proper important stuff like master. And I think the hand is going to be pretty core as well. So there we go. Right, hand go. Okay. So even though its actual location doesn't matter too much, I would rather it be where I would imagine I'd want the hand to be. So let's just say about there. Let's go -3. That's fine. We've got I know, it's like properly making everything right from the beginning. So create hand script. Still don't know why it defaults to that, but that's fine. Let's go put that in there. And we're going to create the hand as well in script. Yeah. So at the moment it is literally an empty game object, which is fine. And we want it roughly there. And we're going to kind of, I'm looking to have some sort of effect where it sort of flips open, like where you have the cards, they sort of come off and then flip around. Right. So that's good. We can actually get rid of that now. Here we go. So we're going to do something similar. And actually, one thing which it doesn't matter too much, as I've created this, I didn't actually necessarily do it because I could just put all of this code in here. But I think for simplicity reasons, it's better to actually just create a separate variable. So public game object and go. And script. Right, sweet. Okay. Now. Oh yeah, actually I'm missing I need to actually get access to it. So hand go equals resources dot load game object. I didn't need to save there. I just need to wait for the loading. Right. So we still, even though it's completely invisible, I still want to get access to the transform. So I'm going to kind of almost copy and paste the same and trans, almost, yeah, use the same code as I did for the deck. Get rid of all this, don't need any of that. We just want public void and public transform get trans turn and trans Oh yeah, sorry, I probably need to mention at this point, I'm getting my music from Stream Beats, which is, I know you're thinking, like, it's more just quite nice, sort of pleasant background music. I realise I don't want to just steal all their music and then just be like, without actually sort of acknowledging it. So yeah, it's perfect sort of game dev music, where you can just sort of be pretty mellow, right? That's good. Okay. Right. So main game master. What we'll do as well is we're actually going to do just in this, and actually, yeah. So we don't really want to have this anymore. This is just to stop getting an error message. But I'm now going to use the purpose of what we have for an enumerator is. So while So what I've got is when I actually create this overshoot thing, I've actually got this bit of code is basically saying while we're waiting for that whole animation to occur or movement to occur, it's going to just wait and then wait until that's done and then go on to the next bit. But before any of that, I also want to create a hand script. Instantiate and go. Oh yeah. Well, I think we decided -3. Sweet. Okay. Right, at the moment, all that's doing is creating an empty game object that we won't see, but it will actually serve a purpose in a sec. Right. So now we want to essentially create a card from the deck script to then move over to the hand script. So for the time being, we're just going to, so let's go public game object card go. I couldn't decide whether I was doing it public or private, but for the time being, I will at the end turn this all private, but it's just really useful having everything public so that you can actually see it in the Unity thing. So private card script. There we go. And what I kind of want to do as well, it's going to take a little while to do, but oh yeah, actually, I'll turn that off now. That's probably getting that's probably annoying people a little bit. So I'll just there we go. Just yeah. I don't even see it, and it's still annoying me. Right. So. Go. Oh yeah, we still. That's pointing at the screen. We still need to fill this bit in, which I'll do that in a sec. Let's actually do that before I forget. Here we are. Right. Copy path. Now we get rid of where it says .prefab, and we get rid of where it says resources and assets, and that's going to be a recurring theme. It'd be nice if there was a way of just copying the relevant path that we can copy and paste here, but that is no longer. That is not an option. So yeah, it's getting hold of all of those, that's fine. Okay, so what we'll actually do, even though I've got a reference to the card here, I'm actually planning to create it straight from the deck script. And also, because this hand script is going to be quite important, I want to make it a singleton, which will mean I can kind of get access to it from anywhere. Or do I? Yeah, I will do that. Although, having said that, it's probably good practice to try and avoid using as many singletons. I can just simply give the reference over. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. So what we'll do is we want the Dectrans to... Yeah, we want the deck to be able to actually access the hand so it can then give the cards over. So, let's have a look. Right. What are we looking at the moment? Yeah, so we're not actually going to bother with... Yeah, if we can avoid using a singleton, that is better. So this mover is a singleton. And when I say singleton, I mean... it's got this code at the top, this bit here, where it says public static mover instance, and where it says instance equals this. That means that from whatever script you're in, you can access this code. And I think it's reasonable to keep this one as a singleton, because I just need it for so many things that it's going to be an absolute nightmare trying to actually give the reference. However, I don't know if everything is going to need this hand script, so I can actually pass the script over to the deck script, which will have another function here called public set up. Oh yeah, of course I need to call it void. Yeah, public void setup. Yeah, always put in an underscore whenever it's referencing anything. And yeah, so what we want is fine. So yeah, we've got this function here, which means when I actually do this setup, I'm going to put a hand script in it. So basically, this deck script is going to have access to the hand script. And the reason I've called it specifically just setup is because there's a good chance I might want to put more scripts in it later, and I can just edit it. So now we're here. Earlier when we created this deck script, we've created the hand script as well. I'm actually going to make it so deck script dot setup hand script. So what we've done is this hand script that we've like where we created the hand, we got the hand script, and now we want to put it onto the deck script. So that'll be hopefully useful for later. Right. Okay, where are we up to? So I will drop this pen eventually. Yeah, we don't need that. Master, okay. Right. I'm going to have a new function with the deck that's going to be called give cards to hand, I guess. Yeah. And this is going to be a sort of it's not going to happen instantly. I want it to happen like over time. So I'm actually, so the public void there, but within that you're actually going to have a private IEnumerator. IEnumerators are the best. Give card to actually give cards to hand routine. There we go. And I also want to have an argument, which is just the number of cards to give. So int number of cards. And so we're starting this function to then start this coroutine. Cards to hand routine, and we actually also want an argument here, which is in number of cards. Now, yeah, unfortunately, in the early sort of process, you need to kind of make a bad version of something to then make it better, because it just makes everything a lot clearer. So at the moment there's nothing calling this, but we'll get there. We kind of want this to have access to the cards as well, and at the moment we're just creating dummy cards, just to see if we can get that to work, because my overall I'll quickly explain. My overall goal is what I want to happen, like ideally, is we create the deck over here, and it will give 5 cards over to the hand, and then hopefully, as I say, I want the hand to kind of like adjust to how many cards, so it sort of generally stays central, similar to Hearthstone and Slay the Spire. I want to have that sort of that feel as though you're kind of holding the cards. Yeah, sorry, it looks like I'm just going crazy here, but no, there is actually there is method to my madness. Here we go. Yeah, that's all good. Right. So, yeah, before we do any of that, this is the deck script, so we want make it public again. There is a good reason why people often have things private, because it gets incredibly complicated when you make loads of things public. However, just in starting out, it makes sense to make things public so you can easily see them. Card go. Wake. Card go equals. In fact, what I can do, I mean, like, I can actually simply just copy and paste this code. Right. So we're creating the. So this is just meaning that the deck script now has access to the card. Right, there we go. Okay. And hand script. So for the time being, I'm right in saying that we've actually got access to this trans. So this is a very, like, as I say, just doing things for the time. It's going to look better than this, but so now I want the hand to accept like how many cards it's got, and we can use either an array. But in this case, we want a list, right? So a list will mean that we, because the hand, there's going to be times when there's no cards in your hand, and when there's 10, I don't know. So if we actually make the, if we actually make a list, that way we can add cards and take away cards, and it won't be too difficult. Whereas if you make an array, it makes it a little bit more awkward. So we're going to have a public. Let's just go make it public. Everything public. Public list of card scripts, and we'll call it cards in hand. hand, as part of the awake part, we actually do want to make cards in hand equals new list of card scripts. That's nothing will work unless you actually have that, because that's essentially saying, right, now we've got a new empty list of cards in hand. So we also want the ability to actually add the card. So I've got a script here, which is adding the card. So here we go. Cards in hand dot add open brackets card script. So it hasn't actually done anything to physically move the card over, but it has. It's meant that we can now. This hand has now got access to it. I don't know how useful that'll be, but it'll probably be useful a bit later. Right. Cards to hand in routine. Right. So, how are we going to do that? Oh yeah. So, what I'm also going to do, I'm going to have a boolean, which is like true or false. And I always make this one public. So even when I turn everything else private, this one I make public on so many different scripts. It's going to be simply called busy. So we know when it's busy, because ideally you don't want to be doing something else with this script while it's still busy. So there's ways of kind of wait until it's no longer busy, and then you can do something with it. Otherwise it can get a little bit complicated. Oh, I just realised my head is in the way of quite a lot of this script. Should I just move myself? Hold on. Oh yeah, of course. The only problem is it looks like I'm kind of looking at the screen here, whereas if I move it to the other side, then it looks like I'm looking away. You know what? I'll take that hit. Or I could just scroll further up. It's fine. It's actually not too difficult. I do apologise. I realised I might have actually done a large part with my head in the way. Anyway. Right. Coroutine. So here we go. For open brackets int I equals 0, I less than the number of cards, I plus plus. And yeah, as I say, I will eventually have it so that it's not just giving a random card, but there is actually a set card. But you know, for the time being, it's best to make a start with something that's quite bad and then make it look better. So we're going to have card script equals instantiate card go vector 3. Actually no, we actually want to have it at so we're actually doing quite a lot of stuff in this one line of code. So yeah, at the moment what this code is doing is we're creating the card and also getting access to the script that's on the card. But we're creating it at where I've got deck transposition. That's creating it where the deck is. And yeah, so we've got quite a lot going on over here. And now I am going to oh yeah, everyone's got their own sort of default name for a variable, and for some reason I just decided one day it's always going to be called chum. So like if ever you see chum, it's like what could he mean by that? Does that mean anything? It doesn't mean anything. Right. Equals. So we're going back to this granddaddy of a script, which helps us move things. Now I've got actually moved to point bounce y. What that does is it moves it from one place to another, and it actually bounces along the y axis. So it doesn't do a straight line; it sort of bounces on. So we don't actually have access to the thing yet, so that's fine. And what I'll do now that we know where we're going, so we've got the card trans. So this is pretty much the same script as we've got on the deck script where we've got get trans, but I've just kind of done it. I always like to just have it there, so it's just like it's sort of smoothly just in one line, as opposed to in a separate sort of thing. I don't know, I just prefer it that way. But this is in many respects exactly the same code as what this is here. It's just, I quite like it when you can sort of squidge everything together. But that's, more opinion based. Let's have a look. Right, card script. I'm looking at the wrong bit. That's why I'm confused. Deck script, there we go. Card script dot get. No. Get trans. Time to tape. Let's just say 0.5f. And we're going to just try the bounce height of 1. What's wrong with that? Oh, we haven't actually done the destination, have we? So we've got access to the hand script now. So at this precise moment, it's going to move to the exact place of the hand. So essentially all the 5 cards will be exactly on top of each other. But part of like when you're coding is you want to do that and then be like, right, now I've done that, I can now get the right. I can now sort of it just makes life a lot easier. Like you want to make it look bad and then make it look good afterwards. Right, so, and what we're also going to do is have underscore hand script dot add card, which will be this card script that we've just created. That's good, and right, sweet. Okay, so I'll roughly sum up what we're going to do. We're going to make it look better soon, but for the time being, our overall plan is we're going to summon the deck, and then we're going to make the deck give 5 cards over to the hand. At this precise moment, they'll all be at the same point on the hand, but we can work with that. Once we've made that, we want to test that, see if it works, and then go from there, really. Right. So, where are we up to? So what we're also looking to do once we've done this, I know you're thinking, just do it, test to see if it works. The only problem, is I don't want to accidentally create an infinite loop, because I have done that before, and I'm always slightly worried that that's always going to happen. So I'm always a little bit cautious. So we summon that right now. Underscore deck script dot give cards to hand, and we'll have 5. Okay, while and now I'm just so that we're still on the right wavelength. I've got this busy thing here. Again, I'm pointing at the screen. I always do that. I'm like, come on, you must know where I'm pointing. Come on. Anyway, where we've got this busy, ideally what I'm going to do, actually, first of all, I'll quickly put this in debug.log, open brackets, the hand has 5 cards. So I want to actually just put this as a check to see that we've actually reached there. I don't know what I need to say in there, that's fine. And so here we go. The reason I've got busy is I'm going to have busy equals true. And once it's done all of this, busy equals false. Oh yeah, so at some point when I've actually worked out how, if you use Unity and you're looking for something useful, even though this does actually need quite a lot of shaping up, I didn't actually know what lists were when I first made this, and it would be quite useful. But however, this is actually still quite a decent bit of kit which you can use to move things from one place to another. Right. Anyway, where are we up to? Right. So if everything goes to plan, it will move the deck into place, and then the deck. And in fact, what we can do as well. Sorry, it's probably me being a bit nitpicky. I'm going to have float time equals 0 while time is less than 1.0f, time plus equals. In fact, let's go make it. I normally do this all in one line, but I'll try and make it a little bit clearer. Time.delta time. So the deck is summoned, it waits a second, and then it starts giving the cards to the hand. Exactly the same place, but that's okay. Let's see if this works. Here's where you just get a big chunk of like error messages, and you're like, oh no, what have I done? Okay, no, we didn't get any error messages. So, victory. Right. So, yeah, you know what? I'll take it. That's actually not bad. And we've got the thing to indicate that it's at the right place. Okay. So now we kind of want to make it so that it's so we can actually get them all spread out. So probably at this point I realise that I've got them. The cards might be a bit too big, but there isn't. The idea isn't there. There's not actually too much that you'll need to look at. Now here's where that looks alright, doesn't it? So what we're going to try and do now is make it so that when it adds the cards kind of shuffle over, and that will probably make more sense. So our key place is -3. Yeah, okay. So -3, and how much apart are all of these? So 4, 2. Okay. All right, now I've got to do some pretty interesting maths to get this all to work, which it's going to look really complicated, but it's not actually as difficult as it looks. So, in fact, so as much as what we've done, yeah, so the number of cards in hand is always going to be the list.count. So we're actually going to make this a little bit more complex, but that's all good. Right, private enumerator, add card routine. So we can do quite a lot of stuff here. So first of all, yeah. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm essentially setting all, whenever a card comes in, it's going to be the it's going to be what's called a child of the hand, which means that we've got this empty game object of hand, but it's going to be essentially holding. It's going to have everything, and I'll show you what that means in just a little bit. Because I'll show you how it comes across. Actually, let me just so that it actually makes sense to myself. So the reason I'm putting this here is just it'll give me an error message. So I just want to have that so it doesn't give me an error message as I go over. So when I was making this card earlier, we've got all these things that come out of the card, which these are actually called children of this card. And I know it gets a bit confusing. There's another really complex term for it, but so we're basically making so this is effectively the parent, and all of these bits of text are the children. So what we're looking to do something a little bit more complex, where we've got a hand that is the parent, and all of the cards that come to it are the children. Right. So. And where I was doing the boolean at the end, I want to do that here as well. So you've seen the basic version, but I want to actually make sure that when it's adding a card, it knows where it's it will actually be within the hand script, so I'll know exactly where it's going. Right. So, oh yes, okay, good. Right. Anyway, let's go scroll this so we can actually see it slightly better. Let's have a look. Where are we going? So we want. We actually want to do all the movement of the card. This was just a sort of temporary thing, but we're gonna make it slightly better. So I've actually just got to do a bit of maths, because the idea is I want all the cards to shuffle over as you're adding, which is where it just gets a little bit complicated. So it will be -2. So oh yeah, of course. So actually, let's go make life a little bit easier on ourselves. Trying to do a few too many things at once. Local position. So this is what we're going to change. This will be eventually what we want to change, because we want to essentially shuffle all the cards over as we're adding more. So damn, actually, this music is starting to grow on me, actually. So move that over. That's fine. So, and what we're going to do here, we're going to change this, get rid of a lot of this code. Actually, we can just get rid of that. And because part of the adding the card is actually going to be a routine. So we actually don't want that either. I'm doing the comments to throw them out, because I might not necessarily want to actually get rid of it altogether, but I think I probably will. While hand script dot busy. Yeah, I use plenty of coroutines, because they're just so brilliant. You can do so much with it. So at this precise moment, it will look exactly the same as what we just saw, but hopefully, but this time we're actually, the coding is actually within the hand script, so we've got more manipulation over it all. Right. We could get overwhelmed. No. Okay. Let's give it a shot. I'll probably work out what's... yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So where have we actually got the hand go? Oh! That's interesting. I actually thought I had it slightly higher up, so that needs to be about there, doesn't it? I wonder why that is the case. Yeah, that will require a little bit of thought. Because for some reason, when that's -3. So anyway, when I was talking about the parent, these are all the actual, all these cards here are the children of the hand game object. And what we kind of want to do, so when there's 2, we want this to be... yeah, that's good. Yeah, so it's, yeah, that's fine. Now that's one thing which I'm trying to work out why it actually went a bit lower than we wanted. but we'll work that out. Give that a shot. Yeah, cards in hand. Yeah, okay. Let's just check this works and then I'll explain what I'm doing. Oh no, it didn't work, it worked. Let's have a look. So it should kind of go one... Yeah, that's exactly what I was after. Brilliant. Obviously we want to actually shuffle each card each time, which will be fine. So yeah, so we're actually getting... So what I'm basically doing, I want to make it so that all the cards sort of shuffle out as you add them on. And so, like, I still want to have that... I want them to all move sort of simultaneously. I want to have that sort of smooth look, which is going to take a... There's a lot of times where you're like, oh, that looks so easy, but it's actually required... So it's number of cards in hand dot count. So when I'm doing dot count, that's basically saying the number of card scripts we've got in this list here. So and this is quite a lot of trial and error that I'll have to do here, but hopefully, I mean, every now and then I'll prepare myself for loads of trial and error, and then it works first time, and it is literally the best feeling. It's like that feeling of elation. You're just like a yes, oh brilliant, I am the king. Whereas I don't know if this is going to work, but I will eventually get there. So we're actually moving. So basically what we're doing is we're doing a for loop where we're essentially talking to every other card that's in the hand that isn't this one that we're moving, because this one has already got the place that it wants to move to, whereas we want to move all the other cards so that the cards kind of fan out, which will be so oh yeah, the reason I've got 3 there is purely because they seem to come a bit lower, so I'm just moving them a bit up. So that's the Y coordinate of where they're actually landing, so we want it a bit higher in the screen. Move to point bouncy. I still like that little bouncy thing, so yeah, again, this will be a bit of trial and error, but it will look similar to that. It's yeah. Again, I know this won't look quite right, but once we've got this, we can then work it out from there. Time to take. It's going to be the same amount of time, and we want the bounce height to be maybe 0.5, so it doesn't bounce up quite as high if it's just shuffling itself. Right. So oh yeah, that needs to be -1. So what we're looking to do, -1. So essentially, we've create one card. That's fine. We create the next one. It's then going to tell all the others to shuffle over. And this is the wrong number here, but I want to actually see what that does, and then you can. Again, this is where trial and error comes pretty useful. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll put this back on for a little while so people can actually be like, oh yeah, oh that that video that I watched over and over and over again that was distracting me from the coding. I'm glad that's back. Anyway, here we go. Right. I know, yeah, this won't look quite right. You can see where I went wrong there. So the hand is -3. So what I kind of want to work out, okay, that's all right. We actually learned quite a lot from that, even though it may not look it per se. Oh yeah, that's it, because we haven't actually done the local part. So actually So what I'm actually... That might work. Don't think... Yeah, that'll definitely get us a bit closer. So let's give that a try. I'm going to be very cheeky. I just want to work out. So that's the location it should be. I think when it gets added to it, this little marker moves down, which gets a bit confusing. There is a way of turning that off. I can't remember where it is, but we'll work that out. Okay, well, it's a bit more progress, I guess. And just trying to work out why that one... I don't know why that is moving to 0. That's still part of the parent. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's a key number here that I've just got to try and work out what it is. So it's... Yeah, again, this is quite a bit of trial and error. And obviously, if it works, then you'll be like, "Whoa, this guy's an absolute genius. How did he do that?" Oh, I know what the problem is. It's because it's moving to the local position. It's not centralised. That's why it was going lower before. But yeah. Anyway, right. That's exactly what I needed. Not quite right. Guess it's big plus. Yeah. Again, sometimes it works first time, and every now and then it requires a little bit of trial and error. But let's see how this goes. closer. Yeah. Okay. I think that might work now. I know what, that's definitely progress. Because I think the... oh, actually, we can find out. Yeah, because now we've got this pause. The card's in hand. For some reason, yeah, like it's not. It's close. I'm just gonna have another look, see exactly what happens. So the last one that's added. Let's just try this out. Nope, not quite. No, forget that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and work out exactly where the... so yeah, I think I was wrong to do that. I think there's a bit more fixing. But that's why I mean that's why partly I love like coding and stuff. I just love the sort of trial and error. And you finally sort of get it. You're like, yes, fantastic. Because it's also, I want to make sure that this one isn't, that this one here, this has already got its movement thing, so the rest is not actually counting that. So I think that's good. That minus cards in hand. And what we can actually do, I'm just going to actually go a little bit slower so we can actually analyse everything that's going on from a slightly slower perspective. That's, yeah, like I say, trial and error is the best bit. I love it. Okay. So what's actually happening over here? We probably should have had a bit of a space. So this one here is moving over. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Let me just have another look. So what I'm actually going to, because ideally I want the cards to move right to allow the other cards to fit left. So this one ideally shouldn't be moving that way. It should be moving the other way. Card count. Yep. Oh, I see. Yeah. We'll get there. Hopefully you can see what I'm going for. It does help if you're slightly better at maths than I am. Okay, so that's good. Why is this one moving? Oh yeah, no. That's what I meant to do. It's still useful it being a bit slower, and I'll speed it up once I've got it all in place. And ideally, I want to make it so that you can control like the speed. So once you've actually played this game a few times, you'll be able to move the cards a bit faster. Right, go the other way. Go right. That's it. It's actually surprisingly a bit more progress than I thought it was going to be. And I'll later work out, oh, there's a much easier way of doing this. Let's see how that goes. I also want to work out so that, yeah, so when it's added, it is added as 0 and it keeps going. That's better. That's right. I think this might actually work. Once it's done that, I can actually simplify some of the code. Gosh, this is taking me a bit longer than I realised. That is very close. Very close. So all of these. Right, let me just do a little bit of experimentation. So this one here, if this was say, I don't know, -2. Yeah, okay. Right, 11th time lucky. Let's do this thing. Oh, let's go. Yes. Right. Okay. Now, okay, yeah, like I say, that is part of the fun part is trial and error. So we can actually speed this up. Now, let's have a look what it looks like once it's actually the intended speed. Maybe we don't need to make it bounce quite as much. Maybe it doesn't need to bounce at all, but let's have a look. I think it's one of those where if I wrote it down on paper, I'd probably be able to reach that conclusion sooner, but bang, 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 bang. Okay, fantastic. Right. Yes, okay. Now, I might be... right. Now, what I kind of want, I want it to be slightly more central, so that the centre card is right in the middle. Now, there is an easy way of doing that. I think that's fine. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we just want the X to be slightly sorted. So... +1 and that to be just -1, so we're just shifting everything over. Yeah, that's what, yeah, but like yeah, so now once we've got that sorted, we can then work out the next bit. Yeah, that looks a bit better. And we will eventually have a sort of discard pile over here. And so, right, okay, brilliant. Right, we're making progress, boys. So what we're going to want to do next is we want to make it so that when you highlight this, it becomes a lot bigger and easier to see. So you can, like in Hearthstone or Slay the Spire, you can get sort of more information in the card. And yeah, that should be pretty good. Right, I actually need to quickly go. Oh yeah, of course. I was going to say I need to go to the toilet, but I need to use the bathroom in an American accent. Yeah, but anyway, I'll be right back. Yeah, just say use the bathroom. Right, rock and roll. All right, I'll see you in about. Be back in a sec. Right, awesome. Right. Now, where were we? Right, yeah, we want to make these things bigger when you highlight them, when you highlight over them. So the two things that we're trying to accomplish here is we not only want to make it bigger, so you can read it better, but we also want to make it in front of everything else. So what I mean by that is, so this card here, we've got a little property which is called order in layer. So if we make this 10, that means it's going to be in front of everything. Whereas if we were to make it -10, for example, it would be behind everything. And we also because we actually have to edit the text individually, but that's fine. Just going to make this, just because it looks a little bit ugly, I'm going to make this black so it's a bit easier to read. And doesn't actually succeed in making it any easier to read, but that's fine. There we go. Like I say, I'm going to edit the font at some point, but that'll be a little bit awkward. Right, so first of all, we want to make it so that, there's quite a few sort of nitpicky things that we need to do. So first of all, we want to add a 2D... physics Raycaster 2D. We also need to add this weird component that's called event systems, and we now go on here and we need to add onto this one here a 2D box collider. So what we're going to first of all do is just make it so that the box collider, we just want to know that the box collider is working. So let's have a look. It's surprisingly complicated, but I mean, it looks complicated, but it's actually not too bad. Right, so we need to change some of this stuff at the beginning. So using Unity engine dot event systems. So yeah, we're just adding this at the beginning. This is enabling us to essentially use the box collider. I-pointer click handler. Right, brilliant. So we have added a so I mean there's actually quite a lot of things. It's just so it is quite confusing to actually get started to begin with, but once you know all the things that you need to click and get it sorted, it's not this complicated each time. So I'll explain what I've done. So I've added this Unity Engine Event Systems, which it essentially enables you for the hitboxes to work. So I want to make sure that when you actually move over and click on one of the cards, it just says it worked. But there's quite a few things that you need to do to be able to do that. So we're adding some, as well as mono behavior, we're also another sort of co-parent, I guess, is I-pointer click handler. And this will essentially enable this particular function. So it looks like I wrote this at random, but it has to specifically be called on-pointer click. And let's give it a shot. Oh man. Oh, sorry. That's actually brilliant. Right. So, I mean, I knew it was going to work, so I don't know why there's any doubt. It was fine. So what we've done is, I assumed there was going to be problems before that worked. So it has actually worked really well. So I'll explain what's happened. We've given each of these cards here a hitbox, so that when you move the mouse over and click it, something will happen. In this case, all that I've got is just a debug message saying it works, right? And so I can now, if I like clear this, it will still work now. Click, yeah, and it's still continuing to work, which is great. I shouldn't have as much of a grin on. I just assumed there was going to be more of a problem than that. So with that knowledge in mind, we can now do more stuff. Yeah, so that's when you click. I kind of want it to be, which is great, and I'm going to keep that. That's fantastic. I pointer down handler. Okay. So that's still all good. On pointer. Oh, actually, no, not down. I think on pointer. Enter handler. Yeah. Okay. So actually, let's just be a little bit lazy. We're just going to copy this and just change some of the words. So on pointer. Okay, so what we're going to do, we actually want to don't know why that's all flashy like that. Yes, okay, that worked. Okay, brilliant. Right, so mouse is on the card. Mouse has left the card. So we're going to move the mouse, just see if, like, literally just physically moving the mouse over. You don't need to click anything, but just moving the mouse over and leaving. See if that does actually work. I really thought there was going to be more actual work involved. I thought that was going to take a lot longer. Right. Okay, mouse is on the card, mouse has left the card. Mouse is on the card, mouse has left the card. Okay. Okay, that's actually, yeah. Okay, this is working so much better than I thought. Like, I think the reason that I'm so surprised is because there's so many very particular things you have to do in order to get this to work. And like a lot of times when I've tried to do this before, I've normally missed one element out, and so I'll explain all the things that I've done to enable that to work. So where you've got your main camera, you have to add a physics 2D physics 2D raycaster, which essentially means that you can point at things from the camera. On 2D objects. I need to emphasise I'm looking to make 2D games. I've got I'm not as interested in making 3D games, just purely because I don't really know how to draw 3D objects, and I kind of like having that sort of old retro sort of classic view. Right, so that's great. So yeah, adding the physics 2D raycaster, and then we on UI we go event system. So you need those two things, right? And it's quite like, it seems so particular. It's like it took me a long time to work that out. Right, brilliant. and then you need to add the event systems at the top there, and then add all of this. So it is quite a lot of things to get it to work, which is why I was so surprised that it just worked first time. But, you know, these things happen. Right, brilliant. So what we kind of want to do is we want to make sure that when it enters, we want to make the card bigger. Bigger so you can read it. And we also want to push everything to the front. So let's work on that. So, first of all, I'm going to set card SR dot order, sorting order, equals 5. And what we want to do as well is we want to set the text to be 6, so it's just slightly in front of the card. So the higher the number, the more closer it is to the screen, the more priority it has over. So card MRs, and what we can actually do. So, I mean, I could have done it all individually, but I thought I may as well use a for loop, so we're actually getting all of the all of the text to be in front. And what I'm actually going to do as well, I am going to have a separate function which is going to be called this will look better in a little while. Public void make card in front void move card back. So again, for us to do any of this, we need to make a very basic version and then make it look a little bit better. So make card in front. So, and yeah, I'm actually going to do this. Control X. The reason I could literally just have it as 0, 1, 2, and 3 or something, but this gives a bit more flexibility later. Anyway, what we're also looking to do is make the card bigger. So this still will look a bit rubbish, but we want to make it look rubbish so we can then make it look better. So the reason I've copied and pasted that is so when it's actually awakening, it's setting where it wants all the cards to go straight off the bat, straight at the beginning. Cool. Right. What I also want to do is set the scale of set the size. Sorry, I shouldn't say. Set the size of our card to 1. So even though it's currently set at 1, we want to make sure the card kind of it goes back to 1 when we're moving the card back. So now this is a little shortcut that I've done where I've got vector 1, but what I really should be doing, just for clarity's sake, we're setting it to the vector, new vector, 1, 1, 1. There we go. So yeah, again, it's still going to look at. It will get a little bigger, so it's going to be partly covered by the screen. It will go off the screen slightly, but this is just a good sort of tester to see if it does work. Oh, of course, I haven't actually set the thing yet, which we can do. So on enter, we want to. We now know that works, so we don't really need this anymore. Now, the only reason this might get a little bit awkward is the it being this big means it's going to be a bit awkward to move off. But let's just see how that pans out. Yeah, right, and then you move off. Oh, that's actually, you know what, it looks slightly better than I thought it was going to look, so you can just cycle through them. I don't know why I'm so pessimistic. That should be like yeah, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen straight away, everything's fine. No, that actually works a little bit better than I thought. So when you're actually playing the game, you're like, I can't quite read, so actually let's just say it's on maximum. I can't quite read, I'm just going to see what this card actually does. So in an ideal world, we kind of want to move it up just a little bit for it to, yeah, so, and we're going to eventually have it so that you sort of have to drag it up and then play it. Cool, so, right, yeah, cool, pretty proud of that. Okay, so now we've got that sorted. Where are we looking to go from there? I'm just going to have a quick look to try and work out. We kind of want to make it so that when you click it, it sort of drags to the hand. And what I also want to do, I want to make it so that when you're actually dragging it around, so actually I think it doesn't need to be twice as big, it could be 1.5 times as big. But I want to make it so that when you actually pick it up and drag it, the rest of the hand sort of fits in the place that it should do, which I'll work that out in a sec. So first of all, we just want to make it so that you can drag it about, and then when you let go, it just returns to that spot. So what we want is so we actually don't need the on pointer click at all, and that was just purely used as a sort of an exercise to check that it works. And it's done its thing, it's done the thing that we want it to do, but now we want to make sure that we're going to use a different one. In fact, I can just I think it's just on pointer down handler, so on pointer down. Now the reason I'm changing it to this is with the click, it only works once you've actually clicked, which involves putting the mouse down and putting it back up. Whereas I want to make it so that you can click it as if to drag it through. So we've got. So let's just. I just want to see. So mouse is down. Let's just have mouse is down. Mouse is. Mouse button is down. Cool. Because it's one thing which I've got to try and remember. I don't know if once the mouse button's down, it's continuously doing this function, or if it's just doing it once. And I'll need to just test that. Yeah. We'll fill that in later, don't worry. Mouse button is down. Okay, that's actually really useful to know. So, yeah, once we've got it clicked, it's just indicating that mouse button is down. I'll show you. So I probably should have this slightly bigger. Oh, I just thought my screen has been covering this the whole time. Okay, I'll have that a little bit bigger there. So yeah, when I'm actually clicking on this, it's saying mouse button is down. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay. You know, I probably should actually move. I could probably flip the screen, but yeah. Anyway. So now that we've got this, we want the ability to drag the card. So. Oh yeah, this is actually a bit more. So we got to, once we're actually dragging it, we want to make it so that it essentially, while you've got the mouse button down, it's holding the card, so you can just move it around. Right, so we're going to have here, instead of mouse button is down, we're going to have drag card. Okay, so and you know what? Let's go have. I was talking about earlier about how I always like to have a boolean called busy. Whenever it's doing any sort of routine, I want to know that it's busy. So we'll have busy equals true. So look, busy equals true. Busy equals false. Now we're going to have while. I'll type it in then explain what it is. Input dot get mouse button in brackets 0. So what we're doing is we're clicking down on it. It's starting this coroutine and it's saying while the mouse button is down, it's going to do this whatever code we've got here. So I think it will be there's a mouse. trying to remember. Yeah, I've got to remember exactly how to do it. Something viewport. World to screen point. Now I don't know if it is that. I think it's something like that. Yeah, I'll have to. That's something which I'll have to go on Google, try and work out exactly what it is. But I think the idea is we want to drag it to where the mouse is on the screen. So give that a shot. You know what? I'm going to quickly just file, save project. I always do both save and save project. It's normally when I'm about to do something which could do an eventual soft lock and mess everything up. Okay, that's interesting. So we actually got to work out where it's where it's disappeared to. So where is that in proportion to everything else? That's obviously not exactly where I wanted it to be. My goodness, how did it move? Oh, it somehow moved to 58,000. Okay, it's definitely not that. Let's just... It'll be quite embarrassing if it just works now. No, it still has. I've got to remember. Yeah, there's a... camera dot main. Yeah, this is something that I'll have to. The next time I stream, I'll actually have this nailed down. I know it's something. It's similar to this. I'll give this a shot, and then yeah, it's something like that. I just got to remember. It'll actually be if I refer to code. So that still works quite nicely. In fact, what I should do... Okay, but let's say... Oh, yeah. So we'll, yeah, as I say, you can see that I'm getting slightly closer to it, but it's just not quite, not quite how I'll look into that. In fact, I could actually look at old code which I've done from my Boxer project. Playable shape script. Yeah. And yeah, what I also want to do eventually is make it so the cards sort of flip up instead of them just coming out of the deck. So what we can actually do, file. Yeah, so I'm just trying to work out exactly where I can actually no, that's not right, anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to end the stream here on a high note. Where is he moving the mouse? I don't know. But no, I've got to work out exactly, like, this will be quite easy to work out. It's not this. I know it's not this, but it's a bit of code to make it so that it's exactly where the mouse is. Yeah, it's purely because I've actually realised that streaming is surprisingly quite exhausting. I'll put this back on so you're like, oh yeah, what's this game that he's continues trying to advertise? Oh yeah, it's looking great. Itchmag Duenna. I will make sure that Boxer Terror is available in Germany after this stream. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys later.